Welcome back to the Organizedpreneur Podcast Launchpad. I am thrilled that you're joining me today as we continue to unlock secrets to launching a podcast that resonates with your audience and amplifies your message. This is where we help you to turn your calling into content that changes lives. I'm your host, Aldreama Harper, and today this episode is going to be a little bit different because what you're going to hear is me kind of coaching a few clients. It was actually one of the boot camps or 5-day challenge. I believe it was one of the 5-day challenges where people, were asking me questions about podcasting. And so you get to listen in on that conversation. All right. So listen in. I'm going to open up for questions. If you can't unmute yourself, maybe you are in a place where you can't speak, then you can type it in the chat. Otherwise, click on the little hand. There's a little hand down there. You can click on that, and then I will recognize you. Okay? So are y'all got some questions for me? Let's go. All right. Let's go, Wally. Let's go.
Okay. Thank you so much for this. This is some great information. So appreciate you for doing this.
Thank you.
Two-part question. How do you monetize the podcast? And how much does it cost to effectively maintain a podcast?
So in monetization, most people think about, so to answer the first part of it, most people think that sponsorship is the first way to go, because that's the question that I get all the time. Like, how do I get, a sponsor for my podcast? My response, my answer to that is to sponsor yourself. If you have a business, if you have a book, if you have a program, a coaching program, sponsor yourself. That's how you monetize. The second thing I believe, and I'm just saying, these are the things that I do, okay? Because I have a coaching program, because I have books, because I have other digital products, you can monetize by creating courses. Okay, that's another way to monetize your podcast. The other thing you can do is create a paid membership, so you can have private podcasts that can be accessed only if someone is paying you. So that's how you monetize your podcast. Okay. Now, the second part of your question, in terms of how much does it cost? So again, you're not doing ads. If you do events around your content or what have you, you can repurpose that. A lot of times I will repurpose even my master classes. I've repurposed. I don't always do it, but I do, repurpose, content. And so, but none of those things cost anything. The most you're probably going to pay is for the platform that you use. And of course, your time. Now, once you kind of get your momentum and everything, you may want to outsource it. So that might be a cost too, because what I tell my clients all the time, you have to decide whether you want to be the podcaster or whether you want to learn all of these other tools to figure out, because it's a learning curve, right? And so you have to, figure those things out. But in terms of cost, it's a very minimal cost to be a podcaster. All right. Thank you so much. Great question. Did that answer?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Perfect. Any other questions that you have? Maybe it's something that you, let me look in the chat. Okay. Oh, okay. Someone. So Heather asked, I don't know if she's still on here, but she did ask, is Riverside an alternative to Audition? I'm assuming you're talking. I'm assuming that she's talking about Adobe Audition. Um, I will say, because I have a preference to Riverside, it may be an alternative to Adobe Audition, but it is so much better because Adobe Audition, there's a little bit more of a learning curve, and Riverside is so user friendly. And like I said, all you have to do is click a button for most of the things. They also have the music if you want to add intro, outros. All of that stuff is included inside of the platform, and it is very, very user friendly. I used to recommend Audacity, but Audacity is for people that is used to that understands how to edit music and stuff like that. But that's really all it does. But it's a free tool, and so I used to use it and I used to recommend it. The only reason that I used to use it was because I understand and have been like in media ministry and all of that. And so I kind of understand a little bit of how to edit music. And so it wasn't as much of a learning curve for me. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, Mariana, what is your question, my friend?
Hi, excuse me for I have weak English, so
No
I will
problem.
try to answer a clear question. Yani. What is the ideal time for a podcast? 20 minutes is better. 5 minutes, 1 hour. What is the ideal time?
Great question. Great question. My answer to that is it depends. It depends on your audience. Let me give you an example. So if you're speaking to busy moms that commute to work, and maybe they are entrepreneurs, but if that's like, let's just say that was your target, you would want to consider the amount of time that they have dedicated to listening to your podcast. So you might want to do snippets. You might want to do like a 5-minute, episode, or maybe a 15-minute episode max. You may want to consider only doing audio as opposed to video, because if someone is commuting, they don't want to have to be looking down, to look at your video. So that's why I say it depends on your audience and the people that you are serving. You want to make it convenient for them. Now, if you are specifically on YouTube, because people use YouTube for podcasting as well, and it has really become a go-to place where people go and listen and watch content, then that's different. People have episodes. I just saw one where somebody is doing like a 25-hour podcast training because they're doing some training. And so it depends on the audience. Now, there's going to be people that actually attend that's going to stay for the 24 hours or 25 hours or whatever. I don't know how you do a 25-hour one, but anyway, you can do a 25-hour one. You can and break it up. YouTube, if you think about, the people that watch YouTube, they are watching, and if it's engaging and if it's something that they really want to learn about or hear about, whatever, that's the reason why let's see, what's his name, Shay was able to do that 3-hour podcast with Cat Williams because it was interesting, right? And so if your audience is there, that's what that's who you want to cater to. So it depends on your audience, and it depends on the amount of time that you want to realistically commit to. So it just depends. So there's no real magic formula there, other than it depends on your audience and your ability to realistically stick to a schedule, and the amount of time that you feel like your audience may tune in. Because our attention span. And if they don't get me, okay, thank you, David. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. But so yeah, it just depends. But we have become a society with a very, very limited attention span. And so if you want to get a person, you can start out with maybe 5-minute episodes or 15-minute episodes, right? And then you can expand from there. So be creative about it. Did that answer your question, Mariana? I hope so.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. All right. All right, Mun Fung.
Yeah,
Yes,
hi,
dear.
thank you so much for the information. I just wanted to share an observation. Like I've been researching on some of the podcasts and some podcaster. So many times, like you say, I guess it's because of the attention span is relatively short. So what they do is they actually record the video and
Mhm.
upload as a reel on Instagram, and
Yeah.
it's only about 30 seconds to 1 minute, and then they say that for full episode please go to YouTube.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they break it down to one episode they can have maybe 5 reels of
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's one format that I observe.
Yeah, that is absolutely, you're absolutely spot on. And it's one of the things that I do. I create reels from my episodes. You can, in Riverside, there's a button that you click that says create clips. And so all I do is click that button, it creates the clips for me. And if I like it, because it will definitely choose, 10, 15 clips. And so you just decide on which one you want to use and repurpose. But it's all about repurposing. But that's what I do. And my post may say, whatever I'm talking about on that particular clip, I'll put that in there, and then I'll put a link to the full episode or wherever I want my call to action to be. But you're absolutely right. That is what people are doing.
Does it mean that you will be posting, let's say out of the 10, let's say you like 7 of them, does it
Mhm.
mean that you will be posting 7 reels on, say, Instagram, and every reel you will direct them to the full episode, meaning it's the same link for the 7, right?
Yeah, you can. It because you can redirect them to whatever you want them to. So if
Yeah.
your call to action is check out the full episode, you put
Yes.
that link in there. Because the thing we think that, well, if I've created 7 clips that everybody has watched all those 7 clips, that is not so.
Yeah.
Because they may or may not have seen them. So you can do that repeatedly. Let's say you did 7,
Yes.
right? You can do the same. You can start all over and repeat the process. And because that is what's going to get their attention. And so if they don't, if they decide they don't want to see it, they may say, well, I've seen this, 100 times. Well, let them, that's okay. But
Mm.
that's not what, that's not necessarily true for everybody, because not everybody sees your reel. Not everybody sees your clip. So you can repeat the process. And so just repurpose, use the same clips, use it Monday, 7 days. Let's say 7 clips for 7 days and start all over again.
Mm.
Yeah.
So let's say the first episode I have 7 clips, I will just post 7 reels, let's say every day.
One every
and then-
day. Let's say you do one every
Yes.
day.
Yeah, one every day, and then let's say I have another episode that's waiting for me. Another episode I have 7 reels again, and then the second week I will post every day. Does it mean that works? Yeah.
Absolutely, you can do that.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Well, I know we're at the top of the hour, a few minutes after. I just want to again remind you before we close out, if you're interested in filling the gap between where you are now and where you're trying to go, feel free to click on that link so that you can see exactly what happens. If you're interested in, it's an intensive, if you're interested in that, then definitely click on the link. if you're just interested in talking with me further and I have other options available, because that's not the only option, then feel free to jump on a call, with me. And I would love to talk to you, about whatever I can help you with at that point in time. Okay. If you felt like this was enjoyable, then feel free to follow me on Eventbrite, because a lot of you found me on Eventbrite. You're so welcome, Mel. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully, I've answered all of your questions and you got some clarity. And so, if that's all, we're going to jump on off. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Wally. Thank you, everyone, for participating. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Have a great day, everyone. Take care. You're welcome. All right, that's all I have for you today. Join me next time as we dive deeper into more topics on business, podcasting, productivity, and motivation. Remember, your voice and your message and your ministry assignment matters. And with God's guidance, you can impact lives through podcasting. Until next time, this is Aldreama signing off. Be blessed.